If you enjoyed this audiobook, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge. And when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the book. Chapter 1, Waking Up to Now. Part 1, The Magic of Small Moments. Consider your typical morning rush. You're scrambling, coffee spilling, emails pinging, thoughts racing about the day ahead. What if the secret to calm wasn't adding another task, but noticing what's already there? This section reveals how tiny, forgotten moments hold surprising power. By training your attention on life's ordinary details, a steaming mug, birdsong outside your window, you build an anchor to the present. These micro-pauses cost nothing, require no special tools, and steadily transform how you experience stress. Let's explore how paying different attention rewires your day. Leo used to gulp his tea while scrolling news headlines. One rainy Tuesday, his phone died mid-sip. Annoyed at first, he noticed the cup's warmth radiating through his palms. He heard the drizzle tapping leaves outside. For 30 seconds, he simply tasted the bergamot in his Earl Grey. That tiny pause became his daily ritual. Now, tea time isn't about caffeine. It's where he checks in with his senses. What ordinary routine could you turn into a sensory checkpoint? Research shows our brains filter out 90% of sensory input to avoid overload. Mindfulness gently lifts that filter. When Priya felt overwhelmed caring for her newborn, her therapist suggested noticing 5 daily textures: the baby's fuzzy pajamas, cool kitchen tiles underfoot, a wooden spoon's grain. This tactile awareness grounded her during night feeds. Within weeks, her panic attacks lessened. Why? Focusing on physical sensations interrupts anxious thought loops. Try this tonight. When washing dishes, feel the soap bubbles slide between your fingers. Hear the clink of plates. Notice steam rising. If your mind drifts to tomorrow's meeting, no problem. Just return to the water's temperature. Each redirection strengthens your attention muscle. Emilio, a paramedic, found his job's chaos bleeding into home life. During ambulance rides, he started observing one detail per call: a patient's chipped blue nail polish, rain streaking the windshield. These micro-observations created psychological space between emergencies. Later, he'd recall the blue polish to calm his nerves. What overlooked detail around you right now holds beauty? The magic lies in repetition, not duration. Studies confirm that 15 seconds of fully noticing your breath 3 times daily reduces cortisol more than one long weekly meditation. It's about frequency, rewiring your brain to spot calm amid clutter. Tomorrow, pick 3 mundane moments: tying shoelaces, unlocking your door, waiting for a web page to load. Use them as cues to pause and absorb one sensory detail. Joy lives in the crumbs of time we usually sweep away. Part 2, Noticing the Ordinary. Consider the rhythm of your own life. How often do you move through routine actions? Brushing your teeth, washing breakfast dishes, commuting to work, while your mind replays yesterday's worries or plans tomorrow's tasks? This automatic pilot mode shields us from life's texture. Yet within these ordinary moments lies an extraordinary opportunity to wake up to the present. By training attention on simple activities, we build mental resilience. A dishwasher unloading becomes a meditation on order. A walk around the block transforms into sensory exploration. This practice requires no extra time, only shifted focus. You'll discover how daily rituals anchor calm amid chaos. Leo used to brush his teeth while mentally reviewing emails. One morning, he decided to notice the minty foam's coolness against his gums. He felt the bristles' gentle pressure on his gums and heard the rhythmic brushstrokes. This small shift created a pocket of stillness before his day began. What texture or temperature dominates your morning ritual right now? Research shows such micro moments of presence reduce mind wandering by 22%, according to studies cited in Buddha's Brain. Washing dishes offers another doorway. Clara hated this chore until she focused on the soap's lemony scent and warm water cascading over plates. She observed rainbows in the bubbles and noticed how her shoulders relaxed as she dried each cup. The clinking spoons became a gentle percussion. Try this. Next time you wash one dish, feel its weight, temperature, and surface. How does the water change as it mixes with soap? Thich Nhat Hanh calls this washing the dishes to wash the dishes, not to finish, but to fully inhabit the act. Commutes often feel wasted, But mindful walking reveals hidden layers. Raj began noticing cracks in sidewalks forming maps only he could see. He felt breezes shift direction and heard distant laughter spilling from cafes. One Tuesday, he spotted a sparrow bathing in a puddle, wings fluttering like tiny cymbals. That image stayed with him through a stressful meeting. When did you last observe something ordinary with fresh curiosity? Repetition builds this skill. Start with one routine task daily, perhaps tying shoelaces. Feel the laces' texture, notice the double loop motion, and breathe as you pull them snug. These 10 seconds of attention train your brain to spot beauty in banality. Studies in full catastrophe living confirm that noticing 3 sensory details during mundane acts lowers stress hormones more effectively than occasional long meditations. The transformation is subtle but profound. Leo now finds calm in tea-steeping rituals. Clara views grocery lines as chances to observe lighting or overhear conversations. Raj spots cloud shapes during elevator waits. Their autopilot still engages, but they catch it faster. What overlooked routine could become your anchor today? This foundation prepares us for life's storms, beginning with the breath. Our next step. Part 3. The power of a single breath. Your breath is always with you, a quiet constant beneath life's noise. This section explores how simply noticing one inhalation and exhalation creates an instant pause button for your mind. When stress hits or emotions surge, that tiny space between stimulus and response becomes your refuge. We'll see how this practice rewires your brain for calm, backed by science yet requiring no special skills. Whether stuck in traffic or facing tough news, one mindful breath can steady you. It's free, always accessible, and takes mere seconds. Let's uncover how this foundational tool transforms reactions into thoughtful responses. Consider Ben rushing to meet a work deadline. His manager criticizes his draft, and Ben feels heat rising in his chest. Before firing off a defensive email, he remembers to breathe. He notices air flowing into his nostrils, cool, then warm as it exits. That 3-second pause lets his heart rate drop. Neuroscience shows this activates the parasympathetic nervous system, signaling safety to your body. Ben realizes his manager's feedback wasn't personal. He asks clarifying questions instead of arguing. What felt like an emergency becomes manageable. Try it now. Wherever you are, pause. Feel your next breath enter. Notice where you sense it most, perhaps your abdomen rising or air brushing your upper lip. Don't change its rhythm, just observe. Exhale naturally. That's it. This isn't about emptying your mind, but anchoring in your body. When thoughts wander, gently return to the breath's physical sensations. How might this micro-practice shift moments when you feel overwhelmed? Maya, a nurse in a busy ER, uses this during chaotic shifts. Midway through a critical procedure, alarms blare nearby. Her shoulders tense, but she takes one conscious breath. Oxygen floods her system, lowering cortisol. She regains focus and prioritizes tasks calmly. Studies from mindfulness programs reveal that regular breath awareness thickens the prefrontal cortex, strengthening emotional regulation. Maya's single breath became her secret reset tool. No meditation cushion required. Common challenges arise. You might think, I'll forget when stressed, or one breath isn't enough. Start small. Link the practice to daily triggers, before answering calls, while waiting for coffee, or after locking your door. Each intentional breath builds neural pathways, making it easier next time. If your mind races, acknowledge it without judgment. The goal isn't perfection, but creating space to choose. When did you last react impulsively? Could a breath have changed the outcome? This foundation turns chaos into clarity. As we'll see next, these moments compound, helping you stay grounded even in turmoil. Note, this section integrates insights from neuroscience, Buddha's brain, stress reduction, full catastrophe living, and accessible practices. Wherever you go, there you are. It avoids technical terms, using relatable scenarios to demonstrate immediate application. Part 4. Finding calm in chaos. Life throws chaos at us all. A packed work schedule, a heated disagreement with a loved one, sudden bad news. These storms can leave us feeling tossed about. Yet within this turbulence lies an unexpected anchor: mindfulness. This section offers practical ways to find steadiness when everything spins. You'll learn how brief pauses transform reactions into thoughtful responses, how noticing physical sensations grounds you during overwhelm, and why meeting chaos with kindness to yourself and others changes everything. These aren't escapes from reality, but tools to stand firm within it. Consider Leo, a nurse during a hectic hospital shift. Monitors beep, phones ring, colleagues ask urgent questions. His shoulders tense, thoughts race. Instead of snapping, he pauses. For 10 seconds, he feels his feet on the floor. Cool linoleum, firm shoes. He notices one full breath, air entering, leaving. This simple act shifts him. He answers the next query calmly, prioritizing tasks clearly. That pause, it's not about ignoring chaos. It's about inserting space between stimulus and reaction. What physical anchor? Your breath, your hands, your posture, could you notice next time stress surges? Family conflicts test us deeply. When Maya's teenage son yelled about a missed curfew, her instinct was to shout back. But she remembered, emotions are like weather. They pass. She stood silently for a moment, observing the heat in her chest without acting on it. Then she said, "I'm too upset to talk fairly now. Let's both take 20 minutes. Later they spoke without blame. By acknowledging her anger without letting it dictate her words, Maya prevented escalation. How might acknowledging your emotions, just naming "this is anger" or "this is fear," change a charged moment? Unexpected crises demand resilience. Sam learned his job was ending abruptly. Panic set in, racing heart, scattered thoughts. He stepped outside. For 2 minutes he listened silently, wind on face, distant siren, tight throat. Naming sensory details grounded him in his body, halting the spiral. He then called a friend, not in despair, but to explore solutions. This sense-check practice, tuning into sight, sound, touch, redirects the brain from panic to presence. In your hardest moments, what 3 sensory details can you note right now? Compassion is crucial here. During chaos, we often judge ourselves harshly. I should handle this better. Try treating yourself as you would a struggling friend. Whisper, "This is tough. It's okay to feel shaken." Research shows self-kindness lowers stress hormones. Same for others. When Leo's coworker made an error, he paused. "She's overwhelmed too," he thought, offering help instead of criticism. This mindset shift from frustration to shared humanity turns conflict into connection. Where might replacing judgment with curiosity soften your day? These tools build enduring calm. Start small. When chaos hits, pause. Feel one breath. Name 2 sensations. Offer one kind phrase. Repeat. Like strengthening a muscle, these micro moments accumulate. You'll find storms feel less threatening when you trust your capacity to stand within them. Chapter 2. Mindful Living. Mindful Loving. Part 1. Listening with your heart. Imagine a conversation where you feel completely heard, not just your words, but your unspoken hopes and fears. That's the heart of mindful listening. In our fast-paced world, we often listen to reply, not to understand. This part shows how truly hearing others transforms relationships. You'll learn simple ways to be fully present, see through others' eyes, and respond with care. These skills turn conflicts into connections and loneliness into trust. Ready to make your conversations more meaningful? Consider Leo, who argued with his partner Priya about chores. He'd interrupt, planning his defense. After learning mindful listening, Leo paused. He noticed Priya's tired eyes and heard frustration in her voice. Instead of reacting, he said, "It sounds like you're overwhelmed. What would help?" Priya softened instantly. By focusing on her feelings, not just words, Leo turned a fight into teamwork. What distractions usually pull you away when someone speaks? Mindful listening starts with presence. Put your phone face down, make eye contact, notice the speaker's tone and pauses. Elena, a nurse, tried this with patients. She stopped rushing through checklists. When Mr. Evans mumbled about pain, she sat down. "Tell me more," she said quietly. He shared fears about his illness, which helped her adjust his care. Elena found that silence often speaks loudest. Empathy is next. Picture your friend Omar venting about work. Rather than judging, he's overreacting. Imagine his stress. Think, if I felt stuck in that meeting, what would I need? This shifts your response from advice, "Quit your job," to validation. That sounds tough. Omar felt supported, not criticized. How often do you assume you know what others mean before they finish? Non-judgment is key. Anna struggled with her teen son's anger. She practiced listening without labeling. "He's rude." Instead, she acknowledged his emotion. "You seem upset about the curfew." He opened up about feeling controlled. Her calm reply, "Let's find a compromise," built trust. Try this exercise. Next conversation, count breaths while listening. If your mind wanders, gently refocus. Or paraphrase what you heard. So you're saying, this confirms understanding. Rohan used this with a colleague who disliked his idea. By restating her concerns, he uncovered shared goals and found common ground. Mindful listening heals rifts. When Priya and Leo argued less, they laughed more. Omar's friendships deepened. Patience trusted Elena. Aina's son started confiding in her. Small acts of attention create safety. Someone's tone sharp? Pause. Ask, what's behind this? You might hear loneliness or fear. That's the bridge to connection. Part 2. Savoring connections. After learning to truly listen, we find ourselves more connected. Now, what do we do with these connections? This part invites you to slow down and fully enjoy being with others. You'll discover how ordinary moments, like breakfast with your partner or chatting with a neighbor, become extraordinary when you give them your full attention. We'll explore simple ways to overcome distractions that steal these experiences, helping you transform rushed interactions into cherished memories. By the end, you'll have practical tools to appreciate every conversation and silence, turning relationships into steady sources of joy and comfort. Consider how you feel during a busy dinner. Before mindfulness, Benita often ate with her kids while scrolling through work emails. The clatter of forks and chatter felt like background noise. One evening, she tried something different. She left her phone in another room. As her daughter Lily described her school play, Benita noticed the light in her eyes. She tasted the tangy tomato sauce on her pasta. The meal became vivid, warm. What happens when you remove just one distraction? Digital devices constantly compete for our focus. Rajiv realized he'd check notifications every few minutes, even during his father's stories about gardening. This habit made his dad withdraw. So Rajiv started placing his phone face down in another chair when visiting. Without the buzzing, he heard the pride in his father's voice about the roses. He saw the wrinkles around his eyes when he laughed. Such small shifts build intimacy. How often do you truly see the person in front of you? Barriers like busyness trick us into thinking connection requires grand gestures, but mindfulness finds gold in simplicity. Take Marta, who felt lonely after moving cities. Instead of waiting for deep friendships, she began savoring tiny exchanges. At the bakery, she'd smile at the server, Theo, and notice how he carefully wrapped pastries. She'd breathe in the buttery scent. Those 10 seconds of presence made her feel part of a community. Could you find belonging in brief moments today? Try this practice next time you're with someone. Engage your senses. Feel the weight of your coffee cup. Hear the rhythm of their breathing. When your mind drifts to tomorrow's meeting, gently return to now. Kenzo did this during walks with his dog. He'd watch his pet's ears flop with each step, feeling the leash's tug. His worries faded. Joy lives in these details. Meaningful connections need protection. Set a device-free hour during family time. Or share daily appreciations. Clara and her teen son Arlo name one thing they enjoyed about each other every night. At first, Arlo rolled his eyes. Soon, he shared things like, "I liked how you taught me to fix my bike." These words became anchors. What ritual could safeguard your relationships? When fully present, even hardships soften. During her mom's illness, Fatima sat with her in quiet hospital rooms. Instead of filling silence with chatter, she'd hold her hand and watch the sunset through the window. Those tender, wordless hours eased their fear. Presence turns ordinary love into something unshakable. How might you deepen your connections this week? Part 3. Kindness in Action. Mindfulness teaches us to be present with others, but it also opens the door to meaningful action. This section shows how simple acts of compassion can reshape daily life. You'll discover how being kind to yourself and others lowers stress, builds stronger connections, and creates positive ripples in your community. Practical methods make kindness effortless, whether pausing to breathe before reacting or noticing small opportunities to help. These moments add up, transforming routine interactions into sources of joy and resilience. Consider self-kindness first. Jonah, a teacher, used to criticize himself for minor mistakes. After learning mindfulness, he noticed this pattern. Instead of self-blame when he forgot a parent meeting, he paused. He acknowledged his frustration, then gently reminded himself, everyone forgets sometimes. This small shift reduced his anxiety. Treating yourself with patience makes it easier to extend grace to others. When do you tend to be hardest on yourself? Kindness spreads unexpectedly. Mei Lee, a cashier, started complimenting one customer daily. She told Brenda, a regular, "I admire how you always ask about my day." Brenda later revealed that comment lifted her spirits during chemotherapy. Weeks later, Brenda brought Mei Lee homemade soup when she had a cold. Such exchanges create invisible threads of support. Research confirms kindness triggers a helper's high, releasing mood-boosting chemicals in both giver and receiver. Integrate kindness through tiny, consistent actions. Set a daily intention like, "Today, I'll listen without interrupting." During work calls, Raj noticed his urge to multitask. He began placing one hand on his chest as a reminder to focus solely on the speaker. This simple gesture helped him offer full attention, making colleagues feel valued. Another practice. Use routine moments, waiting in line or at red lights, to wish others well silently. Think, "May you be safe and happy." How might this change your commute? Barriers like busyness dissolve with planning. Leo, a single dad, felt too overwhelmed for generosity. He started kindness minutes, leaving extra coins at a laundromat dryer or texting a friend one encouraging sentence. These took seconds but built his sense of purpose. Similarly, when irritated, try the stop method. Stop moving, take a breath, observe your feelings, proceed with kindness. The ripple effect strengthens communities. After a local factory closed, neighbors in Oak Hill organized free skill-sharing workshops. Cooking, resume help, even mindfulness circles. This collective care reduced isolation and sparked new job collaborations. Kindness, woven into daily life, becomes natural. It grows relationships, preparing us to nurture deeper bonds through challenges. Part 4. Growing together. Relationships, like gardens, need tending. They face storms, misunderstandings, hurt feelings, busy lives pulling people apart. This part explores how mindfulness helps relationships grow stronger through challenges. You'll discover practical ways to build patience, offer forgiveness, and create shared moments of presence. These aren't complex theories, but simple tools for everyday life, helping you nurture deeper bonds with partners, family, or friends. Consider Lena and Tom. After years together, they felt disconnected. Small irritations, Tom leaving dishes out, Lena arriving late, sparked big fights. They tried arguing less but felt stuck. Then they attended a mindfulness workshop. Instead of blaming, they practiced pausing during tension. When annoyed, Tom would take one deep breath before speaking. Lena began noticing her urge to criticize and chose silence instead. This small shift prevented escalations. Within weeks, they felt calmer at home. What daily friction in your relationships might ease with a mindful pause? Mindfulness helps us see people clearly, not just our reactions to them. Ben struggled with his teenage daughter Maya's moodiness. He saw it as disrespect. Through mindfulness, he learned to observe without judging. One evening, instead of scolding her for slamming doors, he sat with her quietly. Maya eventually shared her school stress. Ben's quiet presence created space for her to open up. Acceptance doesn't mean approving hurtful behavior. It means recognizing the person behind it. Forgiveness grows from this clarity. Rosa held resentment toward her brother Amir after a financial dispute. Mindfulness helped her notice how bitterness tightened her chest daily. She started a simple practice. Each morning, she'd breathe while silently wishing Amir well. She didn't excuse his actions but freed herself from their weight. Over months, her anger softened. When Amir apologized unexpectedly, she was ready to listen. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. How might letting go lighten your emotional load? Shared mindfulness builds intimacy. Couples like Priya and Sam set aside 3 minutes nightly to sit quietly, holding hands and synchronizing breaths. No talking, just feeling each other's presence. Families might share gratitude moments before meals, each naming one thing they appreciate about another. These tiny rituals anchor relationships in the present. Healing takes patience. After his father's harsh words, young Diego withdrew. His dad started joining Diego's mindful walks, matching his pace without pressuring conversation. Slowly, Diego began pointing out birds or clouds, small shared joys rebuilding trust. Progress isn't linear. Some days, old patterns resurface. Mindful relationships aren't about perfection, but repair. When you stumble, can you gently begin again? Every connection teaches us. A coffee shop owner, Mrs. Chen, greets regulars by name and notices when they seem tired. Her mindful attention creates a community hub where people feel seen. These moments remind us relationships thrive when we show up fully, again and again. Through presence and care we grow, not alone, but together. Chapter 3. When Life Gets Loud. Part 1. Meeting Stress with Stillness. Life often feels like being caught in a roaring waterfall. Constant demands pulling us in every direction. This section offers an anchor. You'll discover how brief pauses of mindful attention can transform overwhelming stress into manageable moments. These aren't escape tactics, but practical tools to find calm within chaos, using your breath, body, and immediate senses as guides. By the end, you'll have simple methods to regain balance during tense meetings, family conflicts, or personal crises. Consider Priya, a nurse during a hectic shift. Monitors beeped, patients needed help, and paperwork piled up. Her shoulders tightened, thoughts raced, and panic bubbled in her chest. Old habits urged her to push through faster, but that only amplified her fatigue. Then she remembered a different approach. Pause and breathe. For 30 seconds, she focused only on air entering her nostrils, filling her lungs, and leaving her lips. Her heartbeat slowed. The chaos remained, but her inner turbulence eased. What bodily signals alert you when stress builds? Mindful breathing works because it interrupts our stress cycle. When anxious, our breathing turns shallow, signaling the brain to release cortisol. Deep, rhythmic breaths reverse this. Try it now. Inhale for 4 counts, hold gently for 2, exhale slowly for 6. Repeat 3 times. This isn't about emptying your mind, but anchoring it to one steady rhythm. Like a boat lowering its keel in choppy waters, you become harder to capsize. Next, body scans help release stored tension. Leo, a teacher facing parent complaints, would clench his jaw until headaches struck. Now he pauses midday to notice physical sensations without judgment. He might feel heat in his temples or stiffness in his neck. Simply acknowledging it softens the edges. Start at your toes. Notice pressure, temperature, or tingling. Gradually move upward, spending 10 seconds on each area. Trapped stress often hides in shoulders, hands, and forehead. Real-world application matters. During a traffic jam, Elena focuses on her hands gripping the wheel, the texture of leather, her knuckles pressure, instead of raging at delays. This sensory shift creates mental space. Similarly, before difficult conversations, Dev places both feet flat on the floor, feeling the ground's support. This tiny reset prevents reactive words. Where could you insert a 20-second pause in your routine? Common hurdles arise. I don't have time, some say. Yet studies show 3 mindful breaths take under a minute and lower blood pressure faster than a 15-minute break. Others protest, but my thoughts won't stop. That's normal. Imagine thoughts as passing clouds. Observe them without boarding. Each gentle return to your breath strengthens focus. Priya now uses these tools daily. When monitors blare, she feels her feet rooted to the floor first. Leo's headaches faded as he scanned his body between classes. Stress didn't vanish, but their relationship with it changed. They accessed an inner stillness that noise couldn't touch. What single sensation, your breath, a sound, an object's texture could ground you right now? This inner center isn't found in silence, but in purposeful attention amid life's storms. Part 2. Turning struggles into strength. Life throws curveballs. A project fails. A relationship ends. Health falters. We often meet these moments with frustration or despair, seeing them as roadblocks. But what if you could shift that view? This part reveals how mindfulness transforms tough times into chances to grow stronger. You'll learn practical ways to face hardship with calm curiosity instead of fear, building resilience step by step. Through real stories and simple exercises, discover how to find meaning in adversity and emerge wiser. Consider Elara, a nurse who lost her job during hospital cuts. At first, she spiraled into self-blame. I'm a failure. Her body felt heavy. Sleep vanished. Then she recalled a mindfulness practice. She sat quietly each morning, noticing her thoughts without fighting them. This is anger, she'd say softly. This is fear. She treated her emotions like passing weather, observing storms without drowning in them. Gradually, her inner voice shifted from why me to what can this teach me? She enrolled in a public health course, a path she'd never considered. Her layoff became a doorway. What recent challenge have you labeled as purely negative? Could it hold a hidden lesson? Mindfulness builds this resilience by changing how we relate to pain. Picture holding a thorny branch. Clutch it tightly, and it pierces your skin. Hold it loosely, and you avoid injury. Similarly, resisting struggle amplifies suffering. Mindfulness teaches us to hold difficulties lightly, acknowledging them without obsession. Research shows this reduces the brain's stress response, creating space for solutions. For example, Mateo's bakery nearly closed during a supply crisis. Instead of panicking, he paused to breathe deeply whenever anxiety surged. This calm helped him spot an opportunity. Local farmers had surplus grain. He pivoted to rustic loaves, attracting new customers. His crisis became a reinvention. Try this when facing hardship. Pause. Perceive your thoughts and feelings. I'm overwhelmed. Accept them without judgment. It's okay to feel this. Uncover curiosity. What's beneath this fear? Select a kind response. I'll take one small step. Engage with openness. This 5-step tool, rooted in clinical mindfulness programs, builds emotional flexibility. It helps you bend without breaking. Zara's story illustrates this. After her divorce, shame haunted her. I'm unlovable, she repeated. Then she began a daily 10-minute meditation focusing on breath. When critical thoughts arose, she'd silently add, and I offer myself compassion. Over months, her self-talk softened. She joined a hiking group, rebuilding confidence step by literal step. Her pain didn't vanish, but it lost its grip. What harsh judgment about yourself could you soften with one gentle phrase? Setbacks aren't dead ends, but detours toward growth. Studies confirm that mindful individuals recover faster from trauma because they process emotions without avoidance. They ask, what is this revealing about my needs or values? A missed promotion might highlight your desire for creativity. A conflict could underscore your need for boundaries. By facing struggle with presence, we mine it for wisdom. This shift isn't about ignoring pain, it's about meeting it with clear-eyed kindness, the first step toward true strength. And as we learn to befriend our struggles, we naturally begin to accept our imperfect human selves. Part 3. Embracing imperfection. Consider the weight we carry when we demand flawlessness from ourselves. That voice insisting every task must be done perfectly, every interaction smooth, every goal achieved without misstep. It drains joy and fuels anxiety. But what if you could trade that exhaustion for calm? This part explores how mindfulness helps you see perfectionism as an unkind taskmaster. You'll learn to spot self-criticism as it happens, then gently replace it with self-compassion. Through simple practices, you'll discover freedom in accepting mistakes, yours and others, as natural parts of being human. This shift brings deeper peace and lets your true self shine. Perfectionism often starts quietly. Imagine Priya, a nurse who believes any error proves she's inadequate. When she forgets a minor task, her mind races. I'm careless. Everyone notices. This thought spiral leaves her tense and distracted. Mindfulness offers a different approach. By pausing to notice her breath, Priya creates space. She observes that critical thought like a cloud passing in the sky, present, but not defining her. What harsh self-judgments drift through your mind when things go wrong? Studies show self-compassion activates brain regions linked to soothing and resilience, while self-criticism triggers stress responses. Priya practices naming her feelings without blame. I feel embarrassed about forgetting, and that's okay. This isn't excusing mistakes, but meeting them with clarity. She might place a hand on her heart, a physical reminder of kindness. Over weeks, her inner dialogue softens. Missed tasks become chances to adjust her system, not personal failures. She sleeps better and listens more deeply to patients. How might treating yourself like a friend change your toughest days? This acceptance extends outward. Take Ben, a teacher frustrated by a colleague's constant lateness. He'd fume silently, thinking, they're so irresponsible. Through mindfulness, Ben notices his irritation without feeding it. He breathes and considers, maybe they're struggling too. This doesn't mean ignoring problems. Ben still discusses timeliness, but he approaches it calmly. The result? Less resentment, better teamwork. When we accept human flaws in ourselves, we see them less as threats in others. What relationship could ease if you replaced judgment with curiosity? Start small. Choose one routine moment, brushing your teeth or waiting for coffee, to notice self-critical thoughts. Simply acknowledge them. There's that old story about not being good enough. Then offer a kind phrase, I'm learning and that's enough. Celebrate tiny imperfections, a misspelled email, a burnt toast. These aren't failures, but reminders of your humanity. Each time you do this, you weaken perfectionism's grip. Authenticity grows when we stop hiding our rough edges. What imperfect moment this week can you greet with a smile? As we practice embracing our whole selves, strengths and stumbles alike, we build a foundation of inner steadiness. This self-acceptance clears space, making it easier to release what we no longer need. Part 4. The gift of letting go. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks everywhere you go. Each rock represents an old hurt, a past mistake, or a what-if that plays on repeat in your mind. This section explores how to gently set down that weight. You'll discover why we cling to emotional burdens even when they exhaust us, and learn practical ways to release regrets, resentments, and expectations that dim your joy. Through real stories and simple rituals, you'll see how letting go creates space for lightness and new beginnings. Consider Fiona, who replayed her divorce daily like a sad movie. She blamed herself for failing, even years later. This constant regret drained her energy and made new relationships feel impossible. Holding on to pain often feels safer than facing the unknown. We mistake our suffering for control. But what if that tight grip is actually the cage? Fiona began practicing a 5-minute morning ritual, writing one sentence about her regret on paper, then safely burning it while saying, "I release you." Over weeks, the ritual shifted her focus from past wounds to present moments, like her daughter's laughter or the smell of rain. She noticed how her shoulders relaxed when she wasn't carrying yesterday's story. Physical tension often signals emotional holding. Try this. Scan your body right now. Are your jaws clenched, shoulders raised, breath shallow? These are clues to where you're storing old struggles. Gently soften those areas, no force needed. Think of it like loosening a fist finger by finger. Then there's Ben, who couldn't forgive his brother for a long-ago betrayal. His bitterness became a wall, keeping out kindness. Forgiveness isn't about excusing hurtful actions, it's freeing yourself from their ongoing sting. Ben started a simple practice. When anger flared, he'd place a hand over his heart and whisper, "This pain matters, but it won't define me." Slowly, compassion replaced resentment. He sent his brother a brief, neutral text, a tiny step that rebuilt bridges. What worn-out story are you ready to rewrite? Unrealistic expectations also weigh us down. Clara constantly compared her career to friends' highlight reels, feeling behind. She began listing her expectations each Monday. "I should be a manager by now. My home must look perfect." Then she'd cross out one "should" and replace it with "I choose," turning pressure into intention. This small act helped her celebrate her actual progress, like completing a tough project. Letting go isn't a one-time event, but a daily return to what's real. When old guilt surfaces, pause. Name it softly. Regret is visiting. Breathe into that tightness, letting the air create space around the feeling. Picture placing the thought on a leaf floating down a stream. No pushing, just observing it drift away. What heavy thought could you set afloat today? With each release, you make room for unexpected joy. A quiet morning coffee, a friend's support, or the courage to try something new. Freedom grows in the space between what we carry and what we allow to pass. Chapter 4. Everyday Practices, Extraordinary Change. Part 1. Starting your mindful day. Imagine waking up feeling rushed, your mind already racing with the day's demands. That frantic start often sets a tone of stress that lingers for hours. But what if you could begin differently? This section shares simple, powerful ways to anchor your morning in calm awareness. You'll learn how brief moments of intentional focus, whether while brewing coffee, stretching, or simply breathing, can reshape your entire day. These aren't complicated rituals. They're accessible practices that build clarity and resilience, helping you meet challenges with steadiness. Let's explore how ordinary mornings can become extraordinary foundations for presence. Consider Ben, a teacher who used to scroll through news alerts immediately upon waking. His mind would fill with worries before his feet touched the floor. Then he tried this. Each morning, before checking his phone, he sits upright in bed and takes 5 slow breaths. He feels the air enter his nostrils, his chest rise, and the gentle pause before exhaling. This tiny shift takes less than a minute. Within weeks, Ben noticed he felt less reactive during hectic classroom moments. His breath became an anchor he could return to all day. What's one small action you could pause for today? Now think about Priya, a nurse with unpredictable shifts. She starts her day by mindfully drinking water. Instead of gulping it down, she holds the glass, noticing its coolness. She sips slowly, feeling the water move down her throat. This 30-second act grounds her before chaos begins. For Leo, a carpenter, it's stretching his arms overhead for 3 breaths while his coffee brews. He focuses on the pull in his shoulders and the scent of the beans. These examples show that mindful mornings adapt to your life. They're not about adding tasks, but changing how you engage with existing ones. The key is attention, not time. Start with one sensory anchor: taste, touch, sound, or breath. When drinking tea, feel the cup's warmth. Notice the tea's color. Inhale its aroma. Take the first sip with full attention. How does it feel on your tongue? What flavors emerge? If thoughts drift to your to-do list, gently return to the taste. This trains your brain to stay present. Similarly, while brushing your teeth, feel the bristles against your gums. Hear the brush's rhythm. These micro-practices rewire your focus. How might savoring your morning beverage change your next hour? Research confirms that brief morning mindfulness reduces cortisol spikes. When Clara, a software developer, began spending 2 minutes watching sunrise light instead of immediately opening emails, her afternoon focus improved. Why? She'd primed her brain to notice details without judgment. Try this tomorrow. After waking, sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Scan your body from toes to head. Where do you feel tension? Breathe into those spots. Open your eyes and name 3 sounds you hear. This simple reset takes 3 minutes but builds awareness that lasts. Remember, consistency matters more than duration. Choose one practice: breathing, drinking, or stretching, and repeat it daily for a week. Notice subtle shifts. Maybe frustration fades faster, or routine tasks feel more vivid. Tomorrow's section will extend this presence into walking, eating, and pausing. For now, consider this. Your morning ritual isn't about perfection, it's about showing up for yourself, one mindful breath at a time. What single moment of stillness could you invite into tomorrow's morning? Part 2. Mindful moves: walking, eating, pausing. Mindful moves: walking, eating, pausing. After establishing morning stillness, we extend awareness into motion. Daily activities become doorways to presence when approached with fresh attention. Consider how ordinary moments, walking to your car, eating lunch, or waiting for an elevator, hold untapped potential for calm and clarity. This section reveals practical methods to transform routine actions into mindful anchors. You'll learn to move with intention, taste fully, and pause purposefully. These accessible practices build resilience without adding tasks to your day. What unnoticed activity could become your gateway to presence today? Mindful walking turns travel into meditation. Begin by standing still. Feel your feet against the ground. Notice your posture. As you walk, pay attention to the lift, move, and placement of each foot. Observe the shifting weight in your legs. When your mind drifts, perhaps to your grocery list, gently return focus to your steps. Try this during short walks, from your desk to the bathroom, or while pacing during phone calls. Leo, a teacher, practices this while crossing the school courtyard. I notice cracks in the pavement now, he shares. The rhythm calms me before chaotic classes. How does your body feel when walking mechanically versus walking with awareness? Eating becomes vivid when engaging all senses. Before your next meal, pause. Look at the food's colors and textures. Inhale its aroma. Take one bite slowly. Notice flavors unfolding: sweet, salty, sour. Feel the food's consistency against your tongue. Chew thoroughly before swallowing. Put your fork down between bites. Resist scrolling through emails. Make your meal the main event. Nina, a nurse, practices this during her 10-minute lunch break. I actually taste my sandwich now, she says. Those minutes recharge me more than rushed eating ever did. What forgotten taste might surprise you in your next mindful bite? Strategic pauses reset your nervous system. Set reminders to stop briefly every 90 minutes. When the alert chimes, freeze. Take 3 conscious breaths. Scan your body from head to toe. Name one thing you see and one sound you hear. This 30-second reset interrupts autopilot. Kenji, a programmer, uses computer compile times for pauses. I stretch and breathe instead of checking social media, he explains. I return to code with clearer focus. Notice how pauses create space between stimulus and response. Where might you insert a pause in your afternoon? These practices share common threads. Slow down, engage senses, and redirect wandering attention. Start small. Choose one mindful walk, one conscious meal, or 2 intentional pauses tomorrow. Consistency builds neural pathways that make presence easier over time. A study of warehouse workers who practiced mindful walking showed 23% fewer attention lapses during repetitive tasks. Another group practicing mindful eating reported 30% less afternoon fatigue. Such brief yet frequent moments accumulate into sustained awareness. What single activity will you approach mindfully first? The key lies not in doing more, but in doing differently. Walk as if feeling the earth for the first time. Eat as if discovering flavor. Pause as if your breath is the anchor keeping you present. Through these simple shifts, mundane moments become oases of calm. Next, we'll explore how to personalize these practices into lasting rituals that fit your unique rhythm. Part 3. Creating your own rituals. Imagine having a personal refuge you can visit anytime. A simple practice that centers you amidst daily chaos. This section helps you build exactly that, unique mindfulness rituals tailored to your life. You'll learn how small, consistent actions like a minute of gratitude or mindful music listening create calm and clarity. Drawing from real people's experiences, we'll explore how designing rituals you love makes mindfulness stick, turning fleeting moments into lifelong anchors. Ready to craft practices that feel less like chores and more like gifts to yourself? Take Leo, a graphic designer who felt constantly scattered. He started writing one thing he appreciated each morning while brewing coffee, a ritual taking 90 seconds. Within weeks, he noticed subtle shifts. Less dread about deadlines, more patience in team meetings. His ritual worked because it tied mindfulness to an existing habit he enjoyed. What daily routine could you pair with a mindful moment? Rituals thrive when they fit naturally into your rhythm, not when they demand extra time. Priya, a teacher, used to rush through her commute. She began listening to a single song mindfully, focusing only on the instruments, then the lyrics. This small act helped her arrive home feeling present for her family, rather than drained. Her ritual succeeded because it addressed a specific need, transitioning between roles. Where in your day do you need a mental reset? Consistency beats duration. Elena, a retired gardener, struggled with loneliness. She started spending 3 evening minutes recalling kind moments from her day. A chat with a neighbor, birdsong at dawn. Over months, this practice rewired her focus toward connection. Studies show that brief daily rituals physically reshape our brains, strengthening areas linked to calm and joy. What 2-minute ritual could you commit to daily? Intention is your compass. Ben, a student, meditated for 20 minutes but felt restless. He switched to mindful dishwashing, feeling the water's warmth and soap's texture. This grounded him better because he chose an action that felt purposeful to him. Your ritual should serve your intention, whether it's reducing anxiety or savoring life. Ask yourself, what do I need most from this practice? Experiment fearlessly. Try jotting down 3 small joys before bed or pausing to feel your breath after sending an email. Notice what resonates. If a ritual feels forced, tweak it, shorten it, change the time, or pick a new activity. Like Carlos, who replaced journaling with mindful cloud watching during breaks, finding it eased his work stress. How can you adapt a practice to make it delightful? Challenges will arise. Miss a day? Gently restart. Forgot your ritual? Place a visual cue, a vase of flowers on your desk, a specific playlist. Rituals aren't about perfection. They're about returning again and again to what centers you, your turn. Blend the mindful moves from earlier, walking, eating, pausing, into rituals that reflect your quirks and passions. A baker might knead dough mindfully. A runner might notice each footfall. These personalized acts transform mindfulness from a technique into a trusted companion. What will your ritual look like tomorrow? Part 4. Keeping the journey alive. Life happens, and sometimes our mindfulness practice slips. You're not alone if you've missed days or felt your enthusiasm fade. This section shares real ways to maintain your practice through ordinary challenges. We'll explore how gentle persistence, not perfection, keeps mindfulness alive. You'll find simple strategies to reconnect when life gets busy, renew your interest when boredom strikes, and treat yourself kindly when frustration arises. These approaches help transform mindfulness from a temporary habit into a lasting companion for your entire journey. Consider Leo, who meditated daily for months until his work travel increased. At first, he felt guilty about skipping sessions. Then he tried something new, one mindful breath whenever his plane touched down. This tiny ritual kept him connected without pressure. Within weeks, he naturally expanded to noticing sounds during airport walks. What small anchor could you use during chaotic days? Frustration often appears when our minds wander constantly during practice. Clara believed she failed meditation if thoughts interrupted. Her breakthrough came when she started labeling distractions, planning or remembering. This simple act helped her observe thoughts without judgment. She realized the practice wasn't about emptying her mind, but noticing where it went. On difficult days, she'd whisper, "It's okay, just come back." How might acknowledging your mental patterns reduce self-criticism? Boredom sometimes signals we've outgrown routines. Ben loved morning meditation until it felt stale. Instead of quitting, he experimented, shifting to evening sessions by his garden, focusing on twilight colors and cricket sounds. The change reignited his curiosity. He discovered that varying location or focus, like mindful dishwashing focusing on water temperature, could refresh his attention. What routine could you gently adjust this month? Community matters. Maya joined a neighborhood walking group where they practiced noticing details silently for 5 minutes before chatting. Sharing small observations, like how frost patterns differed on leaves, deepened their collective awareness. When she moved cities, she kept connection through a weekly online check-in. Who might support your practice, even with brief shared moments? Self-compassion is your safety net. Research shows treating yourself kindly after setbacks increases resilience. When Raj missed 2 weeks of journaling, he wrote, "I'm human. I'll begin again now." His next entry felt more authentic than ever. Remember that every moment offers renewal. Your next mindful breath waits whenever you're ready. What kind reminder could you offer yourself after a lapse? Curiosity fuels longevity. Try beginner's eyes. Each morning, pick one ordinary object, a coffee mug, a tree outside, and notice 3 new details. This trains fresh attention. Lena did this with her teacup for a month, discovering subtle changes in steam patterns and ceramic textures she'd never seen. Such micro-explorations make the familiar wondrous again. What everyday thing might reveal surprises if you looked closer? Mindfulness deepens through seasons of life. New parents might practice during night feedings by feeling their baby's breath rhythm. Retirees might observe how light shifts in their living room throughout the day. Your practice evolves as you do. It's not about rigid consistency, but returning with kindness. Today, right now, is always enough to begin.